What do you mean you want evidence? I'm not going to do your homework for you. Why don't you just go Google it, or I wrote something else about it. Just go look it up. All right, so this is not the most common fallacy that I receive, but it is one of the ones that tends to end the most conversations, create the most animosity, and make the most enemies. And so for that reason, it's probably a pretty good one. This is the burden of proof fallacy. And the way that the fallacy is executed, it is a sophistic device, actually. A person makes a claim, and then they look at the person who is receiving the claim, and they demand that that person provide the evidence. And usually it ends up going like this. Somebody makes a claim. They're like, colleges are sexist. And you say, okay, well, can you please provide some evidence for that? Can you cite something that shows that colleges are sexist? And they're like, I'm not going to do your homework for you. You go look it up. This is common knowledge, or it's some such arguments. And so what you're essentially doing is you're saying, rather than me providing evidence for my claim, I'm going to demand that you do it. And I'm going to make you sound stupid that you don't know this. Like, there's always this attempt, like, I'm not going to do your homework for you. Just like, you're stupid for not knowing that my claim is true. It's like, well, in a debate, no claim is officially true until you've provided evidence for its truth. Remember, the burden of proof is always on the person making the claim, not the person receiving the claim. This is like a basic rule of debate. It's a basic rule of logic. And in debate, in any kind of debate or conversation, if a person is unwilling or unable to provide evidence for a given claim, for a given statement, then that statement is assumed to be false. The burden of proof fallacy is an attempt to remove that falsity by attaching the failure to provide evidence to someone other than the person making the claim. And like I said, it's usually an attempt to make someone sound stupid. So if they say, colleges are racist, and it's like, I'd like some evidence. And like, well, you're stupid for not knowing that. It's like, no, you're stupid for not knowing how to provide evidence for things. Like I say, this usually ends conversations because once you get to a point where somebody's making a positive claim, you've nailed them down, they're finally making a positive claim, which most people, you have to really work through a lot of conversation before they finally make a positive claim. You say, okay, now you're finally making a positive claim. Remember, all claims need to be positive. You can't disprove a negative, right? You can't say Mount Whitney is not 14,000 feet tall. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. It needs to be a positive claim. So you finally get them on a positive claim. And then you ask for evidence for it, and realizing that they can't avoid making a positive claim and they're out of sophistic devices to use, they just say, well, I'm not going to do your homework for you, or you're stupid for not believing that this is true. And that is totally a shift of the burden of proof. How do you respond to it? Well, you point it out. You say, listen, the burden is on you to provide the claim. To say, if you need me to point out every little detail, it's like, I don't need anything. You need to do it to support your claim. Otherwise, it's false. And that's all you have to do. You just respond to it that way. Here's the thing. Sophistic devices and sophistry is all around us. And if you want to have more truthful debates and you want to discover truth, you have to really push people to adhere to these basic rules of logic. You have to really fill them in on it. You have to really push the argument in that direction. Because otherwise, you're just going to end up talking in circles, because the sophists just talk in circles. Remember, the goal of sophistry is to convince somebody that you're right. The goal of philosophy is to discover the truth, and one of those has much more virtue than the other. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Visit my websites down below. Let me know what you think and what you want to hear. I hope this series has been informative and entertaining for you. And as always, have a great, great day.